Hey guys, we haven't talked about Florida in a little bit, so let's do it now. I want to first update you on the lawsuit of SB4C. This law, you may recall, was passed earlier in the year, and this is the law that says if you illegally enter the United States and then you enter the state of Florida, that is a crime. That lawsuit, that bill rather, was challenged in court. The federal judge issued a preliminary injunction. Although the state of Florida did ask the Supreme Court to allow the state to enforce the law while the case is being litigated, the Supreme Court said no. So as of right now, the preliminary injunction is still in effect and the law is not being enforced. At the conclusion of the litigation, we will know whether or not the law is struck down or whether SB4C will remain law on Florida's books. Now let me turn your attention to one of three proposed laws that the Florida legislature in all likelihood will be taking a look at in the 2026 session. The first of which is SB86. Now this law, or proposed bill, this proposed bill indicates that a law enforcement officer who determines that a person operating a commercial motor vehicle in the state of Florida, if that law enforcement officer determines that the person operating or driving the commercial motor vehicle is an unauthorized non-citizen, then the officer shall take the unauthorized non-citizen into custody and facilitate the transfer of the unauthorized non-citizen into the custody of federal immigration agencies. In addition, the commercial motor vehicle operated by the unauthorized non-citizen that is taken into custody, this must be impounded. And also, the owner of the commercial motor vehicle is imposed a $50,000 fine to be paid to the department, and they must pay all impoundment fees. So guys, this particular proposed bill is targeting non-citizens who are operating as truck drivers, individuals who may have CDL licenses, but they don't have lawful or authorized status in the United States. It's also penalizing the owners of the commercial motor vehicles for the unauthorized non-citizen operating such vehicle. And so, guys, we will continue to update on the status of SB86. Let's now turn our attention to the second proposed bill. This is SB304, and this relates to violations of state immigration laws. Now, this bill proposes to create a state fund to compensate victims harmed by unauthorized non-citizens. It would require the Department of Law Enforcement to impose a fine for certain violations of state immigration laws. It would also require the use of the collected funds to compensate victims. This proposed bill also creates a legal liability, meaning someone who's been harmed, they would be able to sue a legal entity or agency who failed to enforce the immigration laws. And so this too is a proposed bill. The third proposed bill I want to introduce you to is SB310, and this relates to the immigration U visa process. Now, as we all know, the part of the U visa process is obtaining the law enforcement certification. And so this bill relates to the process for certifying a victim's cooperation with law enforcement for the U visa application. And so this bill proposes to specify duties for certifying officials regarding certification forms. It also requires written notice to the petitioner if a certification is denied. In addition, it includes new rules that would give guidance to the approval, denial, and any applicant recourse process. This one is definitely one also for us to be on a lookout. And so really briefly as a recap, the three proposed bills that the Florida legislature in all likelihood will take up in next year's session is SB86, SB304, and SB310. If any of these proposed bills are passed, the effective date for it to go into effect would be July 1, 2026. Guys, as these bills evolve, as we get closer to 2026, and once in the session, I will certainly update you on any and all movement the legislature is making with regards to these proposed bills. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. I will definitely see you in the next one. Bye-bye.